bullied for being different. And then when I went to university at 18, I had a dyslexia test to try to get extra time in the exam and use a computer, because I find it easier to type than to write, because I have problems holding the pen, and it hurts my hand. And then they said, oh, you've got dyslexia, yes, but you've also got dyspraxia. I was like, what's dyspraxia? So I looked it up and I was like, oh, explain. And dyspraxia is very similar to autism. And then when I was 28, I got diagnosed with autism officially, or Asperger's. It was, I think it was, that was quite a bit later on. So I kind of like a hybrid. I kind of got all three, and OCD, ADHD, but they're all just labels. I say ADHD is attention dialed into higher dimensions, and OCD, not obsessively, observing conscious details. That's what I define OCD and ADHD as, because I find autism is more of a gift. I used to say it's a curse, but I find it's a gift. And autism's here to teach people how to get out of their box rather than be put into a box. I'm here to teach unconditional love and warn people about dangers of toxins and vaccines and things. Because I'm not sure people realise that vaccines don't cause autism, but autism is more of a spiritual gift to just old souls, or angelic souls incarnated. But because we're super sensitive, we react more to the toxins in vaccines. So then we have the symptoms come from the vaccine. Doesn't actually cause autism. It just we have more of a reaction to it. So it looks like it causes autism, but it just triggers the autism. It's more of a warning. So, and that's why I'm sensitive to the chlorine. I can't swim in chlorine and bleach and cleaning chemicals. It burns my eyes and nose, and I'm so sensitive. Same with 5G, 4G, that I'm just like, I can't be around any kind of radiation. I'm like,
we all are. We've all got, I've got all my crystals here protecting me. Guys, people don't understand, do they? Oh my God, I smell everything. I've just got this new water filter and I can't drink it. It's awful. The chemicals are so strong. Anyway, coming back to David, that's absolutely fascinating. So I agree. What you said is incredible, that you may vaccinate another child, maybe not now because the vaccinations have become much more aggressive. Let's not go into it. I don't want to go into it.
Yeah.
Let's keep it on that vibration. But when you had them, and if you were very, very sensitive, as you said, you've come from somewhere else, you're a light being, then you're going to not be able to deal with it. It's going to affect you in some way. However, you have done something amazing. You've been able to take this, and not everyone can. I mean, I'd say most people with autism and all these different conditions, they can't seem to negotiate and do what you're doing. And this is why I'm having you on here. Well, I have everyone on here, but I couldn't wait to interview you. Because anyway, you created something amazing, but how did you realize that you were here to do something special? How can you take yourself from that child with autism and all these different conditions that was being bullied and treated as not as an equal and looked on and everything else, to a level of where you suddenly woke up one day and thought, hang on a second, I'm here to do something different, to do something special, because that helps other people and other kids that are being diagnosed to understand that they have got a job here for humanity. So do you want to explain a little to me? Do you understand the question?
It's basically,
thank you.
I'll give a very brief background. So hard time in school. So I was a social recluse, so I just focused more on my academic career. Then I got A levels, and then went to university, and that's when I started coming out of my shell. Before then, I was very introverted and shut down because I couldn't talk. And when I did talk, I stuttered, and I got more attacked, more for that. I mean, not being able to speak properly. But in university, the bullying stopped, and then I came out of my shell because and I was around good teachers and made some good friends. And I found I was really gifted with computers, and I got a first class honours degree in business computing degree. Then my career took off, and I worked for the big names: Nokia, Microsoft, HSBC, KPMG. I was like a top contractor in London, and that's my background. I was like 20 years experience building websites, and I'm a .NET architect, like senior engineer. It's my background trade. But then what happened is, in parallel with that, that started helping my low self-esteem and depression and anxiety, which I suffered my whole life with, because it comes with autism, plus the home life I had, plus my bullying. it's like I got quite a lot of damage done to me, a lot of trauma basically, and I took a lot. It's like I'm still healing from all of it. I'm getting there, but it's been a lot to unravel. And then one day I still struggled with this, and then I tried everything, nothing worked, and I was drugged up and was given antidepressants, anti-anxiety tablets, sleeping tablets, all these things, and it just turns you to a zombie, it just numbs you down, and doesn't really heal you. It covers up the symptoms rather than addressing the root causes. And the root cause of autism is you need to ground, and come into your body and anchor yourself into the planet. And that's what I've discovered yoga. One day I went to the gym and I did the yoga class. I was the only man in the gym. I was like a toy boy, all these older women. They loved me, and I was only like 20. How old was I? 25, 26, I think. And I was only, and I used to go to the gym and just work out and do like weights and stuff. I just still do use the gym. But one day I just thought, Simon goes, try yoga. I was like, and because of autism, I don't care about what society thinks. I was like, a man doing autism, man doing yoga. I'm already an outcast anyway, so I don't care. I don't care what society thinks of me. That is one of the blessings of being an outcast. You just don't conform to society. You become a rebel, and you just don't like follow the
Sorry, David. Can I just stop you there quickly? This is amazing. So, yoga. Did you take any medication at all? Did you have?
Before that. Yeah, I said I was going to doctors, and all they gave me was antidepressants and anti-anxiety tablets and sleeping tablets, and it just made me worse. And I was like, that plus drinking alcohol, got so depressed. I was smoking a bit of weed, so I was a mess. You can imagine that. I was just like, I had this cocktail of like pharmacy. I was a living organic pharmacy, and I was just like, I was just like, and I was like, no wonder I was a basket case, and it made me even more unstable, and I was just a complete wreck. And all I've done is just changing my medication, which didn't work. It made me worse. And then one day I found yoga and I phased it out. I phased out all.
And did you phase out all the medication after that?
Yeah, medication, stop drinking, stop smoking, and I just turned my life around, and that was the turning point when I swapped all that shit with that rubbish with yoga, meditation, and mindfulness. And this book, I've got it here. I'm actually reading again now. This Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. If you can see that, it's the best book. I recommend that. People with autism, if you're listening, read this book. This book and yoga, meditation, and mindfulness in nature, and a good healthy diet, preferably vegan, is what you need, because you're sensitive. So don't eat meat and don't have caffeine, don't drink alcohol, because it's not good. You got autism and you're sensitive. It's not good for anyone. Like autism is the same as everyone else. It's just like on a stereo, the sensitivity dial's just toned up a bit more. That's all it is. Everything's just toned up a bit more. But all these things help, like I just said, help everyone. But autism, it's even more important that you look after yourself and you have a really healthy, holistic lifestyle. That's basically it. And yoga is the most, of all those things, yoga and yoga and this book are the two most important things, I would say. Power of Now and yoga is what I would say, and nature. It's all important. But,
David, let's just take a breath, because it's stunning. This is stunning information. Now, all I can identify with is I was diagnosed with BPD, which has got a bit of everything in it, but it's a complex needs. And so with BPD, they medicate everything. I never took medication for anything. And
well done.
The answer is you've got to bring everything that's got to come into balance, and you've got to know why you're here. You've got to release some stuff. I released trauma from the past, and that helped me. But with you, it was purely yoga, grounding yourself, and the power of now, that changing your diet. So you're obviously very enlightened, to be able to do that. You're a teacher. You've come here to teach a lot of people that have been affected really, really badly. I know a lot, like, what is it? Nearly every single child has been diagnosed with ADD or ADHD or something, or unexpected, because they're so, as more and more sensitives have come to the planet. But let's move on from there. So that is absolutely fascinating. So how old were you when you felt that you were going to create something in order to help other people? And did you teach yourself? I mean, some of people can't seem to communicate like you.
I never used to be able to. Like, that's the power of yoga. Like, if people met me 10 years ago, I was way more autistic. You could tell. I couldn't have I'd never been doing an interview. I would just shut myself away, and all I did was sit in front of the computer. I couldn't like interact with people, and I couldn't make eye contact, or I couldn't talk properly. I still was very autistic, so that's why my IT career was fine, because most people in IT are autistic or somebody on the spectrum, or a bit social reclusive. Some, not everyone, but generally it's kind of a little yeah. but I kind of like say I'm like a hybrid. I'm half hippie, half geek, half hippie, half geek. I'd say like I'm a bit of both. So I'm wearing my tie dye Glastonbury. It's got Glastonbury tour on the back as well, so that's what I wear all the time. My hoodie.
Your batik. I love your batik. That's gorgeous.
I wear it all the time. But it's my mum tries to wash it when I live to my mum when I come back from Bali, and it's part of me. It's like it's grown on me. I never she can never wash it. I never washed it because I do wash it occasionally. I do have hygiene, but it's kind of like it's hard to take it off because it's so comfortable and warm. The hood.
It's beautiful. You've got all the chakras, and of course you're protecting yourself.
Yeah.
So your message is very your message is you're very protected here. I've got the violet flame. All the angels are protecting moving on TV. Only certain people could come on here.
That's good. That's nice to know. Yeah. So your question was like, how did I create yoga for autism? It's kind of like, so basically I kind of discovered that journey, that this is like in my mid 20s, late 20s, started in yoga and started meditating and reading The Power of Now and practicing mindfulness. And like I told her, I just sat in park benches, just meditating in nature and emptying my mind and just focusing on the tree and a flower and just coming one with it and just feeling its inner essence and just connecting with it. And then the sea I love as well, how I just look at the sea and let my thoughts empty across the sea and empty everything out of there. So, and then I thought one day, I never knew anyone else with autism. It was just me. I lived on my own. I'm not on my own, but I kind of didn't really meet anyone like me other than IT. And I thought I've got to share this with the world. So then in 12-12-12, I had my awakening in Glastonbury, because I love this, in Avalon, the heart chakra of Gaia. And then I created Yoga for Autism in January 2013, just after my awakening, to share what I discovered. And then be honest, it's kind of
David,
very hard journey since then.
Sorry, David, when you say you're awakening, everybody has an awakening, like a spiritual. I know when mine was exactly. Can you actually say, because again, if someone is watching this and they think, I wonder what my awakening, they'll realize what's really going on. That's an awakening. So what would you say was that pivotal moment, your awakening?
It happened like 2 stages probably. Like the first stage was when I discovered probably yoga, meditation, and mindfulness, and that was back in like 2009, 2010 probably. So when I was like 29, 30. And then the second stage, the big one was, I said 12-12-12 in Glastonbury, which is like Avalon, the heart chakra of Gaia. I went to because I started going to these ceremonies, like yoga classes and meditation classes, and I got invited to doing ceremonies. I started hooking into doing spiritual tribe in London, because back then I was in the southwest in Plymouth and Cornwall and Devon. I kind of went to university down in Plymouth, so I only came back to London in 2012, like July 2012. And then I went to this ceremony. I went to the 12-12-12 ceremony. I had no idea about the 21-12-12 and awakening and ascension. I knew nothing about that area or what was going on in the world. I just knew about yoga, meditation, and mindfulness practices for about 2-3 years. And then I went to this thing, and then we did the ceremonies, and people come up to me and going, "You're Palladian, no, you're Syrian," and if the listeners come up to you, send them love and light. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So these guys are crazy. And I was just like, all this stuff, and I started talking in language. I just sat there listening. My mind was going, oh my God, but my heart and soul was going, but something feels truth. It feels real. So I always had an open mind. So like I went back home and I started researching on YouTube all these different like Palladians and lizards and all this stuff. And I was like, oh my God. And back then I was smoking a lot of weed as well, bear in mind. I don't anymore, but I was kind of like, and I was just like, it's just like something out of Matrix in Neo. I was just like sat on a computer till 4 a.m, I fall asleep on the keyboard, and the sun will come up and the milk floats will come down and the birds start treating. And then I go to bed, and I wake up in the morning going, oh, did I just dream that? And I go back to the computer, and I was like, oh, shit, no, I didn't. I look at the YouTube history, and you know how YouTube goes recommended video. You just get playing video of the video of the video. I was gripped. I couldn't stop watching. I was like, what? And David Icke, and the Earth is hollow, and the reptilians, and all these other crazy stuff. And I was just like, what the hell? This world is, it's just. And I thought, this is crazy. But somehow my mind is going mental. But for a few days, for a week, you know how it is, and I was just like, this is insane. But I integrated it pretty quickly. I don't know, probably because my soul, like I said, like my soul was like, yep, okay, mission begins. And it's like, and then I went to 21-12-12, and I was like, and I'm always late for everything. Like, so I was late for this interview, and I'm late for my own funeral. I'm just always late, and I struggle with time because of the autism and organization. We're not used to time in the higher dimensions, so I struggle with 3D life, and I thought I was late for the Ascension. Ascension was 21-12-12. I thought everyone was preparing for this big end of the Mayan calendar, and I went to this big ceremony in Avebury. So the first one was in Glastonbury. The next one was in Avebury with the stones in Avebury, a bit like Stonehenge. And I went there, and I thought, oh great. So everyone else has been like had all this time to prepare, like preparing for this for like 10 like the whole life, and I had like one week to prepare for this. And then I got there, and then I got there, and then I found out it was all okay, like, you know, it's all divine timing, like that was all meant to be. But I thought I missed it. I thought like I was meant to wake up a lot earlier, but it wasn't. I was meant to wake up at last minute. So I had like 1 week. That was a crazy week, from 12-12 to 21-12-12, and I was smoking a lot of weed as well. That was some crazy week for me. I was like, I don't know if I'm dreaming. Am I smoking too much? Am I hallucinating? No, that's when I started cutting back on the smoking. I was like, oh, this is mental.
That was the dates that I decided. Everybody was talking about the end of the world. They said it's going to end in 2012. So I made a decision to do my biggest project ever, to open 2013. At the end of 2012, I released a children's peace film with 1,000 kids singing for peace, because I was determined then, even though I knew nothing about what's ruling the world and what's trying to destroy us, I knew that I was going to put out a really positive message. I was going to put out opposite of what they were pushing us to believe, that we were all going to die the end. 31st of December 2012, boom. And I thought, well, I'm releasing the biggest song for peace ever. And I did. And you had your massive awakening. Okay, so that shows to people, when you suddenly, it's like you're on a different vibration. It's like, you know, for years and years and years, David, I used to sit there listening to Jill Edwards and Wayne Dyer and closing my eyes and sending myself all over the place, visualizing. And I just loved it so much. I loved Tony Robbins, because you and I were very similar. We're very creative, and we love all of that floating around. But when it comes to the down-to-earth grounding, money, grants, everything, that we struggle a little bit more. I'm going to give you some more information after this, because they're starting to help people like us now. You know, there's a lot of help out there. There's money and there's help. But anyway, coming back to what so you had your massive awakening. Now, where did Y4A come from? Can you tell us, first of all, what does it mean?
Oh, yeah, it's just a yoga for autism. So it's a website, it's yogaforautism.com. So I just thought it does what it says on the tin, kind of thing. Well, it's quite self-explanatory.
Yoga for autism. Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, I had 2 projects, and people like I won't go. We'll talk about the technology a bit later on, but I had like other projects, Our World and other things. And when I try to explain the 2 different projects, people get lost with the technology side of stuff. But Yoga for Autism, people, I don't know how to explain it. I go, what's your other company? Yoga for Autism. I go, oh right. I said, what's that do? I help autism with yoga. Funny enough. so it's like that's a lot easier to explain to people. So I started with that project and I focused on that for the first few years. And then then I moved on to technology after. So, but yeah.
Funny enough, our paths didn't actually cross, but I had a very strong connection to someone who knew you very well, Helen Greenway. And it's funny because she knew you, and that's how we came. Our paths crossed years ago without realizing it. And that it's you, the same person. So total synchronicity. Okay, so you've got that yoga for autism, but then you started to talk about this new light internet.
Oh right, yeah.
So
that.
Which is, what is that, and how is that going to be beneficial for the human race, and how does that connect all the dots?
I tried to give a quick summary, and then I'll talk about how it all kind of connects, because all my projects are all interconnected, all deeply integrated, all part of the same master plan. I'm basically unity consciousness. I express unity consciousness within the technical sphere and my projects. So and that's where we come from. Because we come from like the oneness kind of thing, from the high angelic realms. When we came here, we used to be in pure unity consciousness. So I struggled with being a body and being separate. But basically, this our world, so it's called ourworldthegame.com, but it's more than a game. It's like a platform and like a training. Basically, it's an ascension training platform to teach people how to look after themselves and come together as a humanity and look after the planet and animals, and to teach the kids and people the right life lessons to create a better world, rather than everyone being separate. It's about coming together and working together, and you gain karma for doing good deeds, like picking up litter, helping people, and you lose karma for dropping litter and being selfish. You can play it however you want.
Wow, sorry, it's a game.
It's more than that. It's hard to explain. It's because it's like different parts of it. It's the internet, it's the operating system, it's a game, it's a platform, it's a social network. It's something you've never seen before, because it's everything integrated. Imagine everything in the world all integrated for one unified interface. Have you watched a film called Ready Player One? That's the closest thing to explain to it. Ready Player One isn't. It's a film called Ready Player One by Steven Spielberg. It's a really good film. You watch Ready Player One. There's a thing called the Oasis in there, and the Oasis is the closest thing to what I'm building. That is my vision. And that film was downloaded, like I downloaded. That film isn't sci-fi. It's a prophecy of what I'm building. I'm not joking. This guy wrote a book called Ready Player One, and it's a top sci-fi novel. And when I used to explain my project, half people would lose, but the people that didn't lose, they always said, "Oh, was you inspired by Ready Player One?" I was like, "No, what's that? I never read it." And I read it years later, and it's like my book. I mean, it was what I was downloading. My visions was in. He saw the same thing, and then and he talked about some of autism who grew up in the 80s, who loved playing retro 80s games, loved 80s music, got bullied a lot at school, a social recluse, loved Dungeons and Dragons, and had guitar lessons as a kid, loved like retro gaming, and described my life like it was like me. And then one day he become a programmer, and he created a revolutionary VR game platform that basically took the world by storm. And then kind of everything else become obsolete, and it's one central platform, and that's what I'm building. And like, it was mental. Like, universe is divinely orchestrated. Like sometimes people write sci-fi books, and it's really not sci-fi. It's science preview, because sci-fi is actually what's to come. But sometimes they're more generic, the sci-fi stuff. But this book, it was very, very specific, and it was about a guy called James Halliday. And I would say he's like my digital twin, my parallel David Ellums in another parallel universe. I would call James Halliday, and he created this thing called Oasis. But it was dystopia future when the world has gone to like now. But imagine now in 10 years' time, if light didn't win, when the whole world is just completely like dark and overcrowded, and everyone escapes into VR to get away from the shitty lives. They go and want to live in VR land. That's what the Ready Player One storyline is. But what I'm creating is like the utopia version of it. Rather than using VR and games to escape reality, it's about using it to to uplift humanity and heal the planet and learn how to live together, and then eventually ascend and train you how to look after ourselves. And so it's like the flip side. So I'm not the parallel, also on a parallel universe version, if that makes sense.
Wow, let me stop you there, because when you say you're building it now, this head is not technological. I mean, yes, I can edit programs and I can study stuff on YouTube, but when it comes to explaining to me how electricity works, or how do you build this? When you say I'm building it, what do you actually do? What
magic?
As I say, my head doesn't get this.
Yeah, just like, well, my background is a .NET C# developer. That's like a programming language and technology, which is like, it's like a web development, but it's used for everything: websites, apps, games. It's very popular now. It's in like a lot of businesses use it. Like, probably Java and .NET are two of the most popular languages. So, and it's a thing called a game engine called Unity, and that's very popular as well. And the clues in the title, Unity. That's why I knew when I saw that was what I'm going to build my game in, because Unity. My game's all about creating unity, and a game engine is called Unity. So I was like, yeah, that's the one I'm going to use. That was divinely planned. So and the programming language it uses is the one I'm 20 years experienced in. So the back end code for Unity is C#, and that's what I'm an expert in.
Okay,
so that's all planned. That's planned.
Are you using light language? Sorry, are you using light language in there?
Yeah. Thanks. Good question. I never talk about that part. I forget about that bit. Yeah, it's imbued with angelic light codes as well, and the Ascended Masters are working with me with alchemy energy. So when you're playing the game, it actually upgrades your DNA and upgrades your consciousness. It actually, I call it anti-brainwashing technology. All the damage that's been done rewiring our brain and DNA, this game reverses it. It's an antidote. It's the antidote to all the brainwashing. Basically, it rewrites your consciousness and DNA. It's not only educating you on a 3D level. It's working more. It's a multi-dimensional programming and multi-dimensional energy that comes through it. It's mental. I'm just a channel. It's not coming from me. I'm just an angel incarnated, and I'm just following orders. I'm just following like you, all of us. I'm just building what they tell me to build. Like, build this. Okay, and then they just do the universe and the angels and the rest do the magic. I'm just like the front man.
We're channels, exactly. It was explained to me.
Mind blowing.
That we are avatars in a game. We're angels or alien avatars, and I come from Aquarius.
In the game. and that's what our world is. Our world is fractal. It's holonic fractal because we're creating a game inside a game. We're inside the polarity integration game, and David Ellen's avatar is creating another digital twin avatar system inside it. And that's how the universe works. Everything's fractal. Everything's contained inside itself. Everything's a copy of each other. So it's like God training platform. It's like a God like recreating reality inside the matrix. It's like creating, and this game I'll go a little bit into it, but basically it's got a thing called infinite reality, IR. So it's got VR, virtual reality, you've got augmented reality, AR, and what comes off of that is a thing called IR, which I invented, infinite reality, and that's about merging virtual and reality so become one. So for example, few examples is say like in the game, you in real life you go out and you buy a Pret salad, say, and a green juice, for lunch, and then you scan that into the game, and your avatar in the game drinks the green juice. It's plus 10 health, plus 100 speed, and a salad. Or if you go to McDonald's and your avatar will eat a burger and you get fat, and then you can't run as long in the game and you get unhealthy. So it's realistic. It's a simulation. It's a simulation.
It's a power of the mind as well. If your avatar is drinking green juices and having vitamins and minerals and exercising, then you will feel better.
Yeah, it's two-way. It's two-way. So it mirrors each other. Yeah, so whatever happens in the game happens in real life, and what happens in real life happens in the game. It's a two-way mirror. So it's not just a game, it's a real-time simulation platform. It's hard to explain it. Nothing's like it. It doesn't exist. This is like 20, 30 years advanced technology. This is galactic, angelic technology. This is from millions of years in the future I'm downloading this from. So you can imagine how advanced this technology is. It's nothing. Google and Facebook and Apple, they're nothing. They can't even imagine this. They can't even think about this, let alone build it. Trust me.
So
and that's why it's going to make an obsolete.
In a nice way, you're Bill Gates of the star seeds, and you're the Bill Gates of the awakening and the ascension.
Yeah.
In a nice way.
The nice. I don't. Not the other way. Not the other stuff we won't talk about.
He was a good person. So
yeah.
You've got, and so you're very. So okay. So here's a good question, David. You're a genius. Obviously.
Well, universe. I always say the universe is a genius. I'm just a channel. But,
so how have you managed to? Have you been targeted? Because a lot of people, a lot of brains, like creative brains, are very easy to target. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I had a lot. I've had a lot of me and my friend Chris, because I'm like Superman. So I'm like archetype of Superman, and my friend Chris, he's like Iron Man, and there's a few other superheroes for the Avengers and Justice League that we're building, and we've been very, very interfered with, to say, and hexes, curses, psychic attack. Yeah, there's been all sorts of crazy stuff. Phone calls, sending weird. My computer's been hacked, and I've been. Oh God, my computer crashes all the time. Every type of way that can be interfered, I've been interfered with, and my relationships, my parent, mind control. Yeah, I won't go too far into it, but that's what makes me stronger and stronger, and that's why I keep feeling I'm behind schedule, because I've been trying to get funding and build this since 2013 or 2011. I started, and I still haven't got funding or team. So this is another shout out again. If anyone wants to help, donate. I've got a GoFundMe page, and also I'm about to launch a Kickstarter campaign. I've been told, guided to do that, and looking for C# and Unity developers. If anyone's out there who wants to help build this, it'd be great, because I've struggled to find funding, and in 8 years I still haven't got any help or support for this. So that's because I know it's interference. But
the way I see it, David, is everything is about keeping people. The government now, everything they're doing, particularly, the lottery and funding like that, they want to keep people calm. They want to now, a game already will focus the mind. Think about it. You have to think like them, don't you? They're looking for people that can come up with things that are going to help people focus their minds. But this is such a positive game compared to all the violent games and video games, exactly. All that stuff that doesn't, okay, it does focus the mind, but it takes people not in the direction you are. I mean, what you're talking about here is it's a whole education system of mindfulness, nutrition. It's going to help so many people whose heads are not able to stay calm and focused. Now, not only that, but you pulled yourself out of everything, depression, alcoholism. You're being honest here. And I think one of the things the lottery are doing now, which I'll talk to you about another time, is they're providing people to fill in the forms. So you can actually get someone for a whole day now, believe it or not. The lottery will pay them. They give you someone, and you together decide what grant to go for, and they help you. They actually do the grant. So, some of the linings of this awakening, of this lockdown, is that people they have no choice but to give money to people that are going to help human beings to be able to negotiate whatever is happening, whatever might be happening, whatever may happen. So you've got a better chance now of money from these people than you had before.
Yeah, because I've basically, I've done everything. I've done investors, I've done crowdfunding, I've done grants, I've done book lottery, I've done comic relief, I've done it all. Denied. For Yoga Fortism and Our World, I've been trying to get funding, and it's been, I'm honest, it's days I want to give up, but my heart will never let me. My mind is like, why did I give up my £500 a day job I used to make? I used to make 10 grand a month, and now I live in poverty. Like I live in benefits, but my heart and soul will never let me quit. So like, I won't tell you the whole thing, but I got Target in my yoga for autism company. They tried to take it from me. So I took my clients, I took my business, and so I had to shelf that. Like, it's still going, but I had to then focus on the technology because the money is in technology. So I started building the game. But unfortunately, yoga for autism I hadn't had time to carry on with. But that's going to be rebooted. That's Wife Babe Reborn that you're asking about before. And just to quickly, the big thing I really wanted to say was I'm about to launch this thing called the Justice League Academy and Your Second Chance. And that's basically a training course for like everyone. Originally it was for autistic people like myself, but it's for everyone now, for kids on the streets, homeless, unemployed, people in prison, all disadvantaged people, and everyone. And now basically
So what's that called, David? Your Second Chance?
Yeah, it's going to be Your Second Chance.icu, and that's like ICU. And the Justice League Academy. The Justice League Academy is more for kids and adults who are into comic books and like me who like superheroes. But some people, Your Second Chance might resonate more. So I've got two flavors of the same thing. And that's about like.
Sorry, can I? So that I would stop you there because that can help a lot of people. So
Yes, especially now with the lockdown. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So say you've got a dream, like you've got a big dream. They can go to Your Second Chance and they can get what? Mentoring, money? How does it work?
Yeah, eventually, but to start off with, because just starting out, the main thing of it was to teach them how to program and teach them like people interested in how to make apps and games. I can give them all free training, and it's open to everyone. No previous skills, experience required. It's free. And then they give them jobs to help build our world, to build this amazing technology. It's a win-win-win then. So I can give them free training and jobs. And most of the training courses, the barrier entry is so high. You need previous skills, experience, you need money, and you work. And when you get in, you work on dummy application that no one ever sees. You work all this time and you throw it away. What better way is to build real life? I trust people. I want to help them believe in themselves again. So I want them to work on real life applications and build apps and games that are going to make the world a better place and build our world and build all these apps, mindfulness apps that all plug into it. So it can build stuff that's going to really help. So from day one, you can start earning money and start writing code to start helping people. And as well as the program. So the program's also got mixing with mindfulness, meditation, yoga, healthy nutrition. So it teaches them how a whole holistic, balanced lifestyle. Because just programming is not healthy. You need to balance it with the yoga meditation. And going to prove that people are more productive and more efficient at learning and working when you mix the programming with yoga, meditation, and mindfulness. So that's my whole.
So how far have you got, David? How far have you got now with, you've got a website?
Actually, at the minute for the training, you go on ourworldthegame.com or nextgensoftware.co.uk. The details are on there, and there's a PDF you can download of those websites. And there's one for adults and one for junior, and juniors for kids like in schools and stuff. And especially now, all the schools are closing. It's perfect timing. The university again planned this. Do you know what? I downloaded all this in 2013. All what I told you, I've had all this in my head since 2013, but I didn't have the time to make it all. But it wasn't for then, it's for now. I realized 7 years was to prepare. 7 years I've been preparing, building, developing, and doing my inner work. And now 2020 is when I unleash it on the world. 2020 is when the world needs it. Because I'm ahead of my time. I'm a man of tomorrow, man of steel. I'm from the future. So I was ahead of my time. So I had to wait patiently for 7 years for the world to catch up. And now the world is going to be crying out for what I'm offering. Because the slogan for our world is together we can create a better world. So they want to be part of that. The yoga for autism, people always need that. And the training, Your Second Chance. Yeah. And the final thing is the Global Healing Network. So I can heal. I've got technology. I can heal people for distance healing. You know, got remote healing. I got a thing. I think you gain karma for healing people. So this whole COVID craziness, you don't need to go get a vaccine or go to hospital. You just go on a website and you can get free healing, and people can heal you. That's another one of my things I had in my head from 2013. But it's all for now. And now look at the world. And like now is the time to bring it into the world. So hopefully someone out there's listening. Help me, help you. Thank you.
Yes. Well, the whole point is we're all working together, David. And TV is here for everyone. I'm here to bring you all together. I'm the media for the light workers. That's how I see it.
I'm media for light workers and for Starseed, for all of us, in order, because you need a media. You need some, because there's no one's going to put you on anywhere else, because they don't want to know. They don't want to know that you could go out there and tell all these people with autism that you don't need medication. They don't want that. And they don't either, that I can go out there and say you don't need medication for anything. It's all inside. Yeah, as you say, we're miles in front of everyone. We come from the future, and people laughed at us and made fun of us. But we are learning now how to use our talents. And as I say, I'm the media. I'm the media and entertainment, and that's my job. Your job is more technological, and we come together and we work together. There's loads of people out there. This is why I'm asking you. Starseeds, people like us, have struggled so much. No one wanted us, and no one gave us opportunities. There's people creating bionic beds in order to counteract 5G. There's people that are creating their own electricity system. When I call them people, you know, people is just 3D thing that we are. So basically, everything that you're bringing here onto Moving On TV is going to benefit a lot of people. So we all work together. So how do people do that? Say, okay, you've got someone similar to yourself who's got a dream, but they, like you, they don't have the money. Like me, they don't. So we're figuring out now how to get what we need, or how to get sponsorship. So there is another thing which you can now go on. I don't know if you're on Universal Credit or anything, but they are providing they're providing me with a whole year of mentorship in order to move on with my company, my production company that runs all of this. So as you said, what you need, what we need, all of us, is some kind of database. Do you have a database where it specifies where you can go, where people like yourself can go that are more technological? Or you got, I'm kind of drawing on the creative. I'm looking at the creative from my experience, if you're a creative, but you're on the technological side, and there is a huge spectre of starseeds like that are out there that can't do what you're doing. They have the same talents and the same creativity, but it's always what's been holding them back is the money again. So what I'm asking here is, how can you all do it together? Is why Yoga for Autism and the website able to connect you all together in some way?
The best way is I have to give you some links after this. Basically, this thing called the Our World Tribe. I got a Telegram group, and also a thing on thing called Discord, like a Discord game server. I've got two groups like on those platforms. Right. I got Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn as well, but I don't. They're dying. They're part of the problem. So I don't talk about it. So Telegram and Discord are the best ways to reach out. It's a thing called Our World of Game. So if you go on ourworldofgame.com website, and then you go to the bottom, there's some links, and you see that there's a Telegram link at the bottom, and then if you go on there.
What's the website?
On the bottom of the website, ourworldofgame.com, you scroll down to the bottom.
Sorry, can
is this Our World, the game.com? Yeah.
The game. That's yours.
Yeah, .com. That's probably the best way.
ourworldthegame.com. Okay. Anything, so people can go on there and connect to you, is that right?
Yeah, but then if you scroll down to the bottom, there's a thing called Telegram, a Telegram link, and if you click on that, then you can join the Telegram group, and then you can talk to me. Also, you can email me as well. I'll give you my email address, so David at nextgensoftware.co.uk. That's another way.
Okay, you give that to me and I'll put it the
a link. Yeah, put in a link. I think I'll give you the links after. Yeah, I'll give you the links after. So I think I'll give you a link for Telegram, and my email is probably the best way. There's two ways.
Okay.
And then and that's where Wi-Fi Reborn is, because I'm going to reboot Wi-Fi with this training course, because originally it was created for autistic people such as myself. So I'm going to create this training course is how I'm going to reboot it, because that's the thing. I've got thousands of people like on a database of autistic people I've built up over the 7 years. I went to autistic shows, and teaching and doing public talking in shows and in schools and in colleges, care homes, and advertising in autistic magazines and yoga magazines, and yoga show I went to. There's videos on the website of me doing my public talkings. People can check out my videos. I talk about a bit like I talked about today, but more detail about the autistic side of things. A presentation I give, and that's why I've got loads and loads of email addresses and people signed up. I've got yoga teachers and I've got clients. And one big thing, that's where it came from, because one big thing was helping yoga was just stage one. Stage two was that everyone had a negative vibe all the time, talking about the negative side of autism. And all I heard was, oh, he had to be medicated, we're going to get a job. Oh, negative. And I was like, no. And I was like, positive. I was like, no, you can get off the drugs, you do yoga, come with me, I'll teach you how to program, I'll give you a job. That's how it started off with. And I thought, wow, this is big, because I saw the light in the eyes of the parents going, oh, my kid isn't going to be like unemployed his whole life. And I was like, no, yes. I want to mentor them. And then I thought, let's make it bigger, and then expand into the unemployed, the homeless, kids in the streets, drug addictions, prison.
Can I stop? Sorry, David, this is incredible. So you don't,
yes, that's right.
You know, again, autism, ADD, ADHD, they're just labels, aren't they? They're labels for sensitive people that have been given a diagnosis, that have been affected either by pollution, vaccination, or whatever, or their job was to come here with a different type of mindset because they're starseeds and aliens, as we said. So does that mean that if someone comes to and wants to work with you or get some support and understand, and you know, from you what you're doing, or as I say, work with you, do they have to have a label, or could they be struggling with addictions or
anything? I just make it open, like my focus is to help all disadvantaged people, but I want to help everyone, and this is why the universe has done this now. Why it's like my time to shine finally, because I've been really gone for, like you said, you know, gone for a really dark struggle 40 years basically on this planet. It's been I've had very small breathers basically of where things have been like not ridiculously challenging. It's just been like climbing not a mountain, climbing a vertical wall of spikes and being, I don't know, shot at the same time. But basically now, like, it's time to bring it into the world, because this is like my Superman journey, basically my Superman hero journey, and this is where I now finally can. Now is the perfect timing. There's the lockdowns and people at home, unemployed, going up, kids going to be homeschooled. This is exactly the perfect time when people are going to want to join these training courses and not only just like get money and help build something. It's also help build a better world, and help build our world together, because it's massive. This project is the most ambitious project the world's ever seen. When you watch the film Ready Player One, you'll see it's way bigger than people. Oh, is it new Facebook? No, it's bigger than everything you've seen. It's bigger than all the current big tech combined. And imagine all that combined in something that's for the light of the world. That's how powerful it is. It's the antidote to big tech. It's like the nemesis. And that's why, like you said, I've been hindered a lot, let's say, and challenged a lot, and also why I've been delayed, because it wasn't safe yet. It wasn't time. If I didn't burn out in 2013, it would have been too early, and I would have been I don't know, probably be in danger. Yeah, I think I need to drink.
Okay, so David, you're right. We're gonna getting your water. We're gonna end the first part there. Okay, is there anything you want to say before we close the first part? And then the next interview, part 2, will be more about the training. And even if people want to contact you and ask you questions, we'll put your email, and maybe they can ask you things they may want to ask about their own development, or
or how to get more training. So we'll talk about the training more on the next interview. And we'll talk about also going out and getting support, how to do that and what it is you need, etc., etc. So is there anything else you want to say before we close this first part of the interview?
Yeah, that sounds great. And I just want to say, everyone out there listening, don't worry. Well, a better world is coming, and everything is proceeding as planned. It might seem crazy in the outside, but really, I think if you believe in God or don't believe in God, but there is a divine hand at hand behind the scenes. You might not see it, and the light is winning. Was really won in higher dimensions. And these projects are now coming through. I'm just one part of a massive network, like Lauren and all of us of light workers. And I got a massive amount of people building this new technology with me, and now we're bringing the training course in. And just want to end just by saying the whole point I created this thing is that I believe in all of you. I believe in you, and I believe in you all deserve a second chance. And I want to help you all find your gift for the world. Everyone's got a gift. I just wanted to empower you to be the best person you can be, and together we can create a better world. So don't give up hope, and we're going to do it. We're winning, and I just got to stick together. That's it.
We've all got a similar dream. We're all here for humanity. That's what gets us up in the morning. We believe in you, every single one of you. And if you can see what David has got past in order to do what he's doing, there is no excuse for anybody to not be able to get out there, grab their life, grab their dreams, and live their dreams, regardless of the 3D issues that we've all been given. I know people are struggling with all sorts of, but guess what? The government know that they created this and they have to give you support. So we're going to find out in the next program what support is there for people like David and people like myself and anybody else who's watching this, because the whole point of doing this is in order to show you that you too can go out and create your dream. So I'm going to end that there. Please subscribe, share, and like, and join Moving On TV. And at some point, I think I'll get David on because he's so brilliant at speaking. We'll get you onto a live stream where you can bring your friends on and we can bring people on. You can talk to them, ask questions on the chat, and hopefully we're going to, grow beautiful new world together. So take care, everyone. Love you lots. And I will put David's email down below. But contact me, movingontv1@gmail.com, if you want to come on here as well. Express your dream, and we'll do it together. Love you lots, guys.
Love you all.
flower in bloom, with she's all around, she lights up the room.
So let's start. Anyway, welcome to Two Awoken Blondes, or Two Awake Blondes. What should we call it, Ange?
Two awake blondes.
Two Awake Blondes sounds great. How are you today? What are you doing?
I'm good. I've been out in the sunshine. I got lots of sun and vitamin D. Went to the park, got some fresh air, did a little bit of exercise. So
Wow.
I'm feeling pretty positive.
Isn't it cool? I mean, you go into lockdown and you lose weight. So there you go, ladies. You can lose loads of weight now. Yeah, I've been enjoying the sun. Mind you, I didn't get up till what time did I get up? About 2 or 3 o'clock. I was sitting up all night studying my tarot.
Oh, brilliant.
Love it. Oh, it's so much fun.
I'm just going to close this door so that we're...
Pardon?
I'm just closing the door so that
Okay.
not be undisturbed, basically.
Okay. And just collecting all this positive stuff. And I've got to tell you something here. This is like, you got to laugh or be really sad here. I don't know. But you know that thing about the man, that the picture of the guy that it said that he was run over by a steamroller and he died of COVID. One of my friends said, "Oh my God, that's so terrible. That's so terrible. How sad." Oh my God, oh my God, how can anybody not get it? It's a joke. Anyway, these are lovely people, but they seem to, they're just not understanding my jokes, are they?
It's just like
I love her to bits, so I have to say that. She's my beautiful friend. But still, she didn't get it.
Yeah, the mind is very, reactive. The mind is very reactive. Like all of our minds are very reactive. Given whatever, we see the world as we are. So if you're feeling very serious and threatened about COVID, then anything, even a joke's going to be like, you're not going to be able to see the funny side of it. Probably something along those lines,
Yeah. Well, we're here to lighten the load, to have some fun. And today we've got a big interview coming up with Paul Boggy Brighton.
Woo!
So the first thing I want to ask him is, what's the Brighton? Why Brighton? Because he lives in Hayes. He lives near.
I wanted to know what the boggy bit was. What?
I don't know what I thought it was Bogey.
What?
I thought it was Paul Bogey.
I'm sure he's going to reveal everything. I'm sure he'll reveal everything.
Pardon?
I'm sure it all will be revealed. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you really, really well.
Okay, good.
Well, let's bring him in before he disappears on us and does a runner. Because you think, oh my God, these women are mad. Anyway, as I say, we're going to have fun on this program. We're going to do our own little whatever comes to mind. And also we're going to bring on people that we think are going to be a lot of fun to interview as well. So let's bring on Sifu Boggy.
A spiritual Jedi.
Is that what it means? Okay.
Swimming along, I think it's in that vein.
Hi.
Hello, how you doing?
Welcome.
Hi.
To the, what do you call it again? Remind me. Two Awake Blondes. Is that it, Ange?
Yep.
Two Awake Blondes. Anyway, I've decided I'm getting rid of my glasses because I'm trying to train my eyes back to the way they were before I wore them. But you got to forgive me. This is a little bit of a security blanket. I've got them on my head here. Anyway, it's beautiful to have you here on this gorgeous, gorgeous sunny day. And if it's okay, I just want to just start by asking you, first of all, what kind of day have you had today?
It was a normal day for me, really. Well, normal day off day for me because I'm still working. I'm actually an essential worker. So I'm still working, but today, so I've just done some Qigong, done some stuff for, we've got a subscription-based TV network called The Tribe, and so I did a little bit for that, and then I also had to do some filming for my school, my Qigong school, which is called A Cup of Chi. So yeah, I've been busy. So
lots of fun.
normal stuff.
Lots of fun, basically.
Yeah, outside.
Okay, if it's okay with Angie as well, I've got another few things before I hand you over to her. I've never shared a program yet, so I'm a Leo, and Angie, what birthday? You're a Libran. Luckily, she's a Libran, because if she was another Leo, we'd get absolutely nowhere. What birth sign are you? Oh.
For me, I am Aries.
Well, there you go. 2 fire signs and an air sign. Okay, well, Angie's going to keep everything nice and gentle and grounded. And with me, you don't know what's going to happen. I might burst out singing, you never know. But anyway, coming back to you, Paul, what's the Brighton? Where does the Brighton come from?
Brighton's my surname.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. Everybody forgets that Brighton can be a surname. In actual fact, Brighton was named after somebody. That's where it comes from. It was Lord Brighton in about the age before that. It was Bridlow or Bridlow or something. I forget but yes. I've always been down Brighton, Bournemouth, Worthing. For the last 38 years teaching martial arts. There's the coast. People are always. There seems, or at least in the UK, there's a lot more people awake in the coast before everywhere else, and so I've always had meditational and qigong is energizing exercises, but it's also self-healing, and it's also there's also is a martial art or defense side to it. So it's always been quite big down there. So down in Brighton, I've got friends down there from martial arts, but I'm also a former figure skater, ice hockey player, and there was ice rinks down there as well. Which
okay, so coming to my second question before I hand you over to Angie, how did this all come about? I mean, what happened? There's always something that happens to someone, or they go through an experience. Where did this all come from? Just tell us a little bit. Go right back to the beginning, because I want to know where all this came from, basically.
Right. So my parents split up when I was around about 7 years old, but I didn't actually get divorced until I was 9. And around about 9, I started, which is sort of, well, this is to do with it, but it's sort of separate. Is that I started having these dreams of past life stuff, and I started having all this information, sort of remembering that this is my first time round. But I was smart enough to know, or my mum was always a little bit of a hypochondriac, and always, if you coughed, you're going to die, you got tuberculosis, or there's something major. So I knew to keep this sort of stuff to myself, because people around me is like, this was 19, so that was 1979. So like, you're a nutter, if you start talking about that sort of stuff, especially at 9 years old. And I was bullied for being different anyway as a kid, and so round about 11 years old, I started doing a martial art called Kiksa. Well, at the time it was called Katida. It's now called Kiksa, and it was it had like 27 moves or 26 moves, but it also had meditation. And the meditation is what really, and it focused on what they called ki, which I now call like energy or chi, prana. Not piranha, but prana. I was really into that and went up the ranks quite quickly. Even by like 12, I was already, had done a couple of belts. And they had a adjudicator that came to the martial arts to do the testing. And that adjudicator pretty much took one look at me and said, said under his breath to me, but not to my parents, is that in past lives you were my Sifu, and in past lives I was your Sifu, and I will be.
Sorry, can you explain what a Sifu is?
I will indeed. I will. So Sifu, in essence, some people say Sifu is like sensei or master, but Sifu is actually more a guide, a muse, somebody who points you along the way. Senseis in Japan, senseis are masters. I am the master, I am the top. You do everything I do, everything sticks in a certain way. Sifu actually means in Chinese means father or parent. So it's more of, in a positive way, it's more of a loving somebody who guides you but doesn't necessarily rule you, but it points you in that way, points you in that direction. So my first so even though I did one martial art, these two Sifus were two brothers, Sifu Shun, which is their surname, but in China the first child can sometimes be named, keep the surname as their first name, a bit like in old schools back in the 70s and 80s. You know, they would call you, you know, if your surname is Brighton, you'd be known in Brighton, you wouldn't be known as your first name. And his brother was called Po, and both of them they did Shaolin. They were from the Shaolin monastery, so they are part Buddhist, but they also studied in Wudan Mountain in China, which is a Taoist philosophy, Taoist mountain. And Wudan, well, basically, George Lucas's Star Wars was based on the Force and the light and the dark side, which is the yin and the yang, and the Jedi were actually well, the grey Jedi, which we never really got to, but in the original story, before Disney tampered with it, you have the Jedi, which is like pure light, the Sith, which is the dark, but Luke Skywalker actually found out that before those two existed, there was one between, which was the grey Jedi, or grey coat, and they were both of light and dark because they believe there is no good, there is no bad, there just is. And when you keep fighting this game of good and bad, there'll always be casualties, there'll always be problems. But when you realise that everything just is and everything is experience, and you learn, you know, even the bad things that happen in your life are there to help you grow and help you expand and move forward, then you open up to a whole different reality. So yeah, that's what sort of Star Wars was based on.
Thank you.
So,
Angie, do you
Lauren,
a question? Sorry, let's get you back.
Didn't I start talking about Jedis before we got on the call? Do you remember I mentioned about Jedis before we got on the call?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you remember I mentioned about Jedis?
Yes, you did. I'm trying to get both on together, but I don't know how to do that yet. But anyway, carry on, Angie. You had a question.
No, so basically this yin and yang, you know, the good and the bad and the bad and the good, it's like what we're going through right now. If we didn't have a dark to be experiencing our light, then we wouldn't be able to experience it, because if everything was just light, we wouldn't have anything to contrast it against. So this sort of battle that we're in at the moment, this spiritual battle, it's all a big cosmic game in a way. It's like a cosmic, I wouldn't say joke because that's taking it a bit too far, but you know, if you want to be a spiritual warrior, then you've got to be able to sort of detach a little bit from it. You know, and that's kind of getting into the silent witness, right?
Yeah, very much so. And even the word Jedi, you know, a lot of people just think this word. Well, Jedi actually comes from the Egyptian word with a little D on the beginning, the Jedi, and the Jedi means pillar of light.
Really?
Yeah, it means, and the Jedi in Egypt, there was a group of Jedi in Egypt, and they were actually in China, they say, yeah, they were Taoists. They were, in Taoism's a word, just means the way, the path, the balance. And so, like, you know, I look at an American Indian, I say, he's a Taoist, you know, because he follows his own way or path. So the Jedi in Egypt, they were the keepers of the pillar of light. And what do the Jedi have? They have lightsabers, which is the pillar of light. And the pillar of light, you have the Kundalini, that is the fire. And what most people, the reason why a lot of people get psychosis in doing lots of Kundalini and it drives them emotionally crazy is because what they're not aware of is that when you pull in your bum and you tuck in your chin, your head aligns with a cord or a crystalline tube which goes straight through you, straight into the earth and straight into heaven. And that is in Chinese they call it the thrusting channel. In the Egypt it's the Jedi, the pillar of light. And the pillar of light is the water to the fire. So the water is the yin. So up here, where's my hand? Up here, a lot of people call this the yin yang symbol. It's actually Tai Chi. Yin yang is half a black circle, half a white circle, and it's the opposing opposites. The Piscean age we came from, where, you know, men and female, men don't understand women and women don't understand men, and good doesn't, good against bad, that's opposing opposites. That is yin yang. This symbol up here is Tai Chi. These two flow together and create harmony. And that's what we're in now. That's what the whole 2012 going into the age of Aquarius, the whole thing in the age of Aquarius is the age of understanding.
Would you say that this, what came out of China, the Taoist tradition, would you say that's been...
It's okay. I sit on the yoga ball, you see, and I roll backwards.
Perfect program.
Boogie fell off his yoga ball.
You got to laugh. Just got me.
Just roll off.
Yeah, I just rolled off my yoga ball. Yes, don't worry. It's not, because I've got a yoga ball, and the yoga ball sits on the balance ball. So normally, what happened was I got a little bit too carried away, and I rolled backwards. And anyway,
okay, let's ground. Let's take some deep breaths.
So we just, yeah.
But that's actually a very important lesson. Never take yourself or anything else too seriously.
Right,
No,
absolutely.
Now, my God, you can't take anything seriously. Anyway,
not with me around. You can never take anything too serious. But that's the point. The whole, again, with the Sifu not sensei, is that set. Well, we've been through all this. Oh, I'm the best. You must listen to everything I say. Da, da, da. You'll listen when you're ready. The information's there, and the whole thing of in the Taoist circles, they talk about being childlike, having fun, being playful. The biggest thing with the dark, you want to scare off the dark, tell it you love it, and be happy and jolly in its presence. And pardon my French, it will pap itself. It would take a brick.
Because what you resist persists, basically. If you keep resisting and resisting and resisting, it's not going to change. If you give out, whatever you give out, you get back. So if you give out fear and panic and you fight, that's all you're going to have within you. That's very much A Course in Miracles. Can I just ask you something? Angie, are you finished with your question?
The other parallel we can draw is Neo in the Matrix. That when he learns how powerful his own mind is. These lessons are buried in so many different things. And that Matrix film used a lot of the Buddhist traditions, hidden secrets from Buddhism in that one. So that, I was seeing on Facebook, somebody said that when you draw back the curtain at the Wizard of Oz, it's just this old man behind the curtain. And it's nothing to be frightened of.
Yeah.
And
like Alice Wonderland with the cards, she just looks at them and says, "You're just a pack of cards. Push." That's it.
Well, the Matrix was both Buddhist and Taoist. The whole point, they're flying in the air. If you look at all the old Chinese movies, they all fly in the air, and they're fighting and they're flying. And the reason they do that is because...
You mean like Monkey?
Yeah, just like Monkey, but the whole... Yeah, Monkey. Yes, I grew up in that era. Ironically enough, I went to Friday school, Catholic Friday school, and it was on the same day as Monkey Magic. So I'd watch Monkey Magic, then go to Catholic school. So I was studying Buddhist tradition, and then go to Catholic school for Friday school. But the whole point of that flying in the air was there was a very good film that actually American film that translated it called The Bulletproof Monk, and what in that they say is that they are manipulating energy, that chi air can become solid, that the whole point. And again, quantum physics, when everybody says, oh, this is rubbish, this is just look at quantum physics.
It's just like the Indian sadhus. I don't know if you've heard of Neem Karoli Baba.
Yes.
Apparently some of them, they had the power to teleport themselves, be in two different places at different times. They could perform, what we would call miracles. But of course, none of this information really ever gets into the mainstream here, or maybe it has. all the stuff that was considered alternative. I grew up with, my mother was an acupuncturist, my stepdad was an osteopath. In the 80s, that was sort of alternative. But now I think that, you know, this idea of like alternative stuff, I don't really think it is alternative anymore.
Well, for a long time they called it new age, which is quite funny when you consider most of this information is older than modern day medicine. So that's why they said alternative rather than new age. And the irony is that the medical system can't, because I actually trained in what's called Tit Ta, which is Chinese osteopath. So Chinese osteopath with what they call Fa Jing is explosive power. Have you ever seen Bruce Lee do the 1-inch punch where, you know, his hand only moves a little bit and that person goes flying? It's about using all your energy, the whole body to create. So you have chiropractor, osteopath. Chiropractor uses direct force on the bones to realign them. Osteopath uses manipulation. In Tit Ta, they use both and plus Fa Jing, so they use the whole body to click the body back into place. And then one of my students and one of my best friends, Fred Bleach, he's a former osteopath from I've done it for over 40 years, but like 20 years ago in the UK they changed the way that they wanted to bring osteopath into the fold or in the medical tradition. But what they said is that, oh yeah, you can come in, but you're not allowed to diagnose, you're not allowed to give information. So they took away the ability to actually do the job properly, because the original osteopaths and in Chinese medicine is that your goal is not to do the symptomology. It's actually to actually the reasons you're ill, work on that, not just the symptoms. Because somebody says, "Oh, I've got a headache," and here's a tablet. Well, all that tablet does, all the pill does, it kills the nerve that's to the headache. That's like a fire bell going off, and I get an axe and I chop.
You're getting the symptom. You're not into the core. Anyway, I've got a big question for you, because I'm always thinking about the person on the street, the person that doesn't know a lot about this. Well, you know, all my life I've been different because I never take medication because my whole outlook is so different. So how do you approach someone? Okay, this is like their first day, okay? They've seen something and they're interested. There's some interest in here. I really want to understand a little bit about how can I stay well, because we know that the answer to everything is building immunity, is eating the proper foods, is raising our vibrations and staying in the light and being happy. Nothing can really harm us when we do that. But I'm talking about, we've had years and years and years of spiritual awakenings. I'm interested in how you would approach someone. They come to see you and they say, "Oh, I don't understand anything. I want like the first step to understanding something." So, because you're so passionate about this, Paul, how would you bring it down to the basics with a person that knows very, very little? So they've taken like that much of a red pill, even smaller.
With me, there's different ways people come to me. So so when you say a lot of the time, most people will only ever look at alternative stuff when nothing else has worked, when everything else has failed, and it's almost the last shot. So if, like, I used to do car boot massage. I used to do massage, do car boot. So it would just be people that, massage. One of the first questions was, I don't have to get naked, do I? And it's like, well, not all massage requires you to get naked, for starters. But it's like, sometimes the best way to help somebody is just to do it. It's just to, I can talk the hind legs off a donkey and then persuade the donkey to go for a walk afterwards. But all that information will just blow your most people's brains. So sometimes you just simply do. So if they come on the massage side, I'll just give them a massage. They say, "Oh, it feels better." So we'll hear some techniques that will help you keep that going. On the Qigong side, Qigong, there's a very simple exercise I give away free called Willow Tree Qigong. Now, medically, this exercise has helped people, has helped people with over 30 years of chronic pain, helped people with ME, MS, fibromyalgia, has helped back problems, has helped poor circulation, arthritis. People who suffer from migraines for years.
For fibromyalgia, please.
well, I mean, what this exercise does is it's very simple. It's the first. It's like the first step. I mean, the other ones I've had people just like a year ago who within one person I'm thinking of had chronic. She had I think it's fibromyalgia, chronic pain, agoraphobic, always in pain all the time, and within a month of practicing, I think she actually says like the first week, but in a month of practicing a couple of exercises, the pain had almost gone, and she was, and she was now a year later, she gets less and less fearful, even to the fact now she wrote a book, and we've had her on the show, and where before that would never ever happen, but it's building people's confidence.
Exactly. Can you show us how to do that little technique there, Ange?
Without falling off the yoga ball this time. So let's just move that out of the way. So willow tree qigong, quite simply, is so you can sort of do it seated, but you just got to be careful if you've got arms on the chair. You just got to be careful about hitting your arms on the chair. But basically, willow tree qigong is shoulder whip stance, feet flat on the floor. Your feet can either be straight ahead or 45 degrees outwards, whichever is more comfortable for you. Make sure your knees point in the same direction. You bend your knees like you're skiing or snowboarding. You're pulling your bum. And then from here, all you do is with your bum pulled in, you turn to the left, turn to the right, turn to the left, turn to the right. Try to keep your nose in line with your belly button. And this is called twist the waist or willow tree qigong. The whole idea is you're not forcing the arms to move. You're not doing this. You're actually, by turning the waist, the arms are naturally moving on their own. You ever watch a toddler? Sometimes they go, I don't want to go to school, I'm bored, or I want to go to school because I'm bored because it's COVID-19. But the whole idea is to just literally twist the waist from side to side, and with the bum pulled in, and the longer you can do it, the better. But a good 5 minutes of this. If you wake up stiff and achy in the morning, there's actually a reason why you're waking up stiff and achy in the morning, but that's a whole conversation on its own. But if you wake up stiff and achy in the morning, or you're travelling about and you're stiff and achy, 5 minutes of this will help loosen you up. If you struggle to sleep at night, 5 minutes of this before you go to bed will help you at night. It's a very simple and easy exercise, and it's one of the two exercises I give away on my school, on Teachable School, and we give, and it's a very simple exercise. But when you do something, because the whole point of the Taoist approach is that even with philosophy is action. You don't just think something, you're just a scholar, and with scholarship you're just information, and it goes into ego. You have to feel it, you have to do it, you have to understand it. So
embody it.
Yeah, very much so. That's the word. And so the Taoist approach is like, so in healing, the Taoist approach is there is no golden pill. You have to do it yourself. You actually have to practice it yourself, and by practicing it yourself, you become it. It is, and because the problem is we've got so used to the medical profession say, "Oh, take this tablet and everything will be sorted," and it's like, well, it doesn't happen. It doesn't actually happen, and most tablets have some sort of side effect. The only side effect of this is that it's going to affect you. That's the only side effect it has.
So I suppose we're probably going to give out your website at the end of the, but you can plug it now if you want.
Yes, at the moment I'm still on www.sifu, SIFU, boggy, BOGGIE.com. That's and then that will take you to. There's different things we're doing. Like I say, I have my own show called own network called the Way of Conscious Mindfulness Network. From there, we've actually got the Way of Conscious Mindfulness Tribe TV, which is where, because of the restrictions of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, we went on to subscription based, so it allowed us to talk more freely about the stuff that we talk about. Because just quite recently, especially if you're on YouTube, one of my favourite is The Edge of Wonder, and a lot of them, all of them are going private, going onto their own subscription based. You've got a London Reel that did a show with David Icke, and it was banned instantly. You know, is that for whatever reason, information
yet, but to worry about that. But so hopefully at some point. But I know. But let's come back again. Let's come back. So that was brilliant. Thank you so much. Because as I said, for someone who's starting out, that is a really good way for them to understand what you said. Now, you came onto the Zoom with us a couple of days ago, and we loved your approach because it's so positive, isn't it, Ange?
Yeah.
We're not going to hell in a handbasket, so to speak. There's nothing to worry about.
Well, there's one thing I just want to quickly say. I'm actually known as Boggy the Ghostbuster because I've been to the most haunted houses in the UK and in Russia. I actually went to an FBI, a CIA, no, not CIA, a KGB. I'll get the initials right in a minute. A KGB prison, and that was like a real poltergeist central where things fly at your head, and it always happens. I walk in somewhere, everything stops. Everything, and in this place, these guys are used to things flying all the time, and so I walked in, and they were actually more scared that it stopped than than when it was actually happening. And when I left again, it all kicked off again. And the whole reason for that is, don't think of shields. People, spiritual world, build a shield, build a wall to protect yourself. In war, when somebody's got a big shield or big wall, the enemy's got something to aim at. The enemy's got something to attack at. But a ninja who is in a filter, or think of Predator, you ever seen the movie Predator, and they're invisible because they've got a filter, you can't see them. And the whole point of a filter is you only allow in what you want. And it's not you don't allow in any bad, but you only allow in what helps you grow. So you say you're only allowing what helps you grow. And then again, like in the past when I've had haters come on my show, I just go, I love you, you're awesome, thank you so much for being here, love you, you too, I love you, bye, love you. And funny enough, they don't last long. And I've done this. I was a close protection officer for over 10 years, and at Dorman, done martial arts, and I've got big ears, and I look a bit even when I was younger, I had back in the 80s, I had permed hair. I went the Craig McLaughlin route.
One picture.
And I permed hair, and I actually looked like Henry from Neighbours. I actually ended up in a.
It was gorgeous. Do you remember?
Well, I wouldn't go that I'm that good, but the whole point is that when people are aggressive, you fire humour at them, and it's subterfuge. You fire humour and you flip it around. And one of the biggest lessons for me was the movie Roxanne with Steve Martin, when he had the big nose, and that was based on a play called Bergerac. But he had this big nose, and they did the 20-something betters. That the guy called him Big Nose, and he says, "Is that all you could come up with?" And he goes, "Well, throw a dart in the board." He got the number. The bully got the 20, so he came up with 20 something.
I'm just getting the feeling that you would be really good at helping kids that get bullied at school.
I was bullied. I was. It's quite funny because most people, you're the scary one. And it's like, well, when you get bullied. But so what happened? That's why I did martial arts. But what happened while I did martial arts? I didn't like fighting, so I learnt how to firstly take a punch, then take an emotional punch, and how to take a spiritual punch. And that twist the waist So going from side to side is the first martial technique I learned. If somebody pushes you, and that force naturally goes, well, as they push you, you just go.
Yeah.
And they're leaning forward, and your other hand hits them in the back of the head. So as they're going past you, you hit them in the back of the head for good measures.
So, Lauren, I've got a couple of questions here. Okay. First of all, the boggy bit. Could you tell us about that? And also, if you wouldn't mind telling us about some of your previous lives.
Oh, okay. Right, yes, the boggy bits. The boggy bit. The two Sifus, Shun and Po, that in traditional martial arts in the ancient knowledge, you know, like American Indians, they give you names. You're given a name, and my actual martial art name is Taiso Boggy. So Taiso, Tai from the word Tai Chi. So Tai, that's supreme. So supreme, lower chaos. Otherwise, big trouble. So I was known, even as a kid, I was known as a bit of a, you know, in this very much like a Jackie Chan character or like Charlie Chaplin. I was a bit of an instigator, a bit of a rebel, and I caused trouble even when I wasn't, you know, doing it on purpose. I would cause trouble. And the Bo-gi is a bit like the Tai Chi symbol, which means the balance between the chaos and the calmness. So it's you taking all these chaotic things and then making them calm. Or when things are too calm, you're the instigator that pokes the bear to bring things up. Because, you know, what people don't realise, we need this. You know,
reminded me, sorry, Paul. Sorry, it reminded me of when I went into the therapeutic community. What you said, we all came in there. You know, I was in there for nearly 2 years, and I recovered from BPD. You know, which I don't believe in, but without medication. We all came in there from different backgrounds and beliefs, and we clashed everywhere. You come in there with all the madness and the chaos, like the world, and then you start to awaken. And what starts to happen is you go completely the other way. You know, so if you were so narcissistic, you go completely the other way and start wanting to take care of everyone. And it's all about bringing it all back into balance. So within the last 6 months of you being in the therapeutic community, you come back into balance, and that's when inner peace came in. And it's exactly what you're saying there.
Yeah, and what was
the NHS that was.
Yeah, and I mean, see, in the West, again, everything's been altered or changed, so people can't see what certain things really are or really mean. So martial arts has been altered. Everybody thinks martial arts is fighting. Martial arts is actually about personal development. It's about understanding yourself and understanding how to do things. Now,
I'm just getting the book, the Dan Millman, the Way of the Peaceful Warrior or something. I don't know if you've heard of that book. Yeah.
And there's lots of, like, you know, good books about that, and it's good understandings. I mean, there was a military advisor from China called Sun Tzu, and he did the art of war, which became the art of strategy. And the art of strategy has been used in business for the past 50 years. The reasons, you know, one of the main reasons why the Americans lost the Vietnam War was because the Vietnamese generals studied this art of strategy. And the biggest thing in this book is don't face people directly on. You redirect their energies. You take the resources rather than, and that's what's happening in the end of the World War II. Rather than, you know, they were taking over depots and taking away the resources rather than trying to do direct attacks. And in Tai Chi and Qigong, this is the idea: is that you don't take people head on because it's pointless. You know, it is, especially, you know, like, you know, you're the big scary demons. Well, though with the big scare, like, I used to, as a kid, have dreams of monsters chasing me, and then one day, this was about 9, and I realised to turn around and face it and just say, "What do you want?" And when I turned around and faced it, it was a little bit like the monster from the Muppet Show, if you remember, the big hairy one, the huge one. And when I faced it, it burst into tears. It said, "You're meant to be running." Yeah. And you know, that's my purpose. And for me, that was a trigger to what, like this whole Boggy Ghostbuster thing. It's a whole trigger to know that darkness and light have a role. and when you step out of that role, they either will ignore you or they'll run away from you.
Oh, you've been muted.
Oh,
sorry, Lauren, I've got one more question here, and then we'll go back to you. You see, my issue is that with my journey of awakening, I had a big transcendent experience at something called Landmark, which was a sort of a Zen big nothing experience where, you know, got a real transcendent experience of that. And that was around about 2007. And then I started going down the rabbit holes, and I saw Zeitgeist, and, you know, it was just one thing after another with the Truther movement. And what I'm noticing now with the people that are into QAnon is very often when you know, talk about Bill Gates, or immediately it's like, well, it's not going to stop until he's dead, or, you know, it's got to be death for these people. And most of it is a right wing movement, the Q thing, even though I'm following it and I sympathize with it. Their answer is that these people have got to die. What's your take on that?
Well, I think that it's not so much. Well, I think for me, it's not Q that's saying these people have got to die. Q wants these people to be arrested and to be, you know, taken. But it's the people following Q that sees there is no good or bad, there just is. And the problem is when you're, in the past, a dictator gets taken out, and then somebody comes in with all good intentions and they end up being dictator as well. Because if you use the same system to take away one bad guy, you'll just create another bad guy. Even in politics, this liberals and conservatives and all of that. While you're still fighting in that system, you're still fighting in that system. You can't beat that system. You need to totally change the way you do it to step forward. Now, people will say that's impossible. Well, no, nothing's impossible. People would say us staying at home for and being locked down, or that'd be impossible. That'd be the end of the world. It's happened, and if you read the hero's journey, everything has cycles, and this was meant to happen. Whether it was started by the good guys, the bad guys, the banana people, or the goat people, it doesn't actually matter. Is that this was meant to happen, because whatever happens, me personally, I see it going in a positive way. But whatever happens, it can't go back to what it was. There was lots of people who were dissatisfied, unhappy, and we were all starting to wake up anyway. And that's why you needed this to put us in this situation where you're at home and you're in your 4, 5, 6 walls, and you have to actually start facing certain truths. The
way I look at it is I think it's actually making me stronger, because I do have health issues that I'm struggling with. I deal with chronic pain and a lot of the things you were talking about. And because I was quite neurotic before this thing happened, so I was somebody that washed my hands a lot and everything before anyway. And what started to happen is that, I was washing my hands so much they were getting really kind of raw and, like uncomfortable. And so basically now what I'm doing is I'm doing so many things for my health now. I've ordered vitamin D, I've ordered zinc, vitamin C, I'm going out and getting lots of sun. So I'm, whatever comes at us next, I'm so, looking after myself now that it's gone the opposite way with me. I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going into fear. I'm wanting to build myself up as much as I can. So it's pushed me in a good direction, Yeah.
I mean, Q's a good thing to look at, but there's 2 other people I would say you must read, especially if you have any health conditions whatsoever. Bruce Lipton, think of the tea, Lipton tea, Bruce Lipton, Bruce Lee, Lipton tea, Bruce Lipton, and also Joe Dispenza. That one I have no idea, just Dispenza, Orenza.
Further than that, I started first of all with Louise Hay. She was the beginning for me. Louise Hay and Brandon Bayes. Bayes' journey. I have mentors that educated me in my 20s. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be walking around now. When I came over from Israel, I had awful IBS, the worst IBS you can imagine. And I met this incredible man called Keith Bascom in Ealing. Changed my life. He was absolutely amazing. It's like a witch doctor. He was so amazing, and I didn't know what the hell he was doing. And what he was doing is he was doing kinesiology with me. He was giving me masses of homeopathy and changed my diet. And within 2 weeks, my IBS had gone. And he became my mentor. So with me, when it comes to the body, I had a massive awakening a long time ago, and I haven't touched medication for probably more than 20 years now, except when I broke my leg and they gave me something for that because I broke my leg and I was in hospital. But because I was given, genetically, I was given a weak body, not very strong. I shouldn't really be here. As I say, if it wasn't for and Philip Day, who taught me about apricot kernels and how to prevent and heal cancer, and without these amazing people, that obviously I was meant to live. I was meant to go on and do the things that I'm doing. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here, because genetically the body I was given was not very strong, and I didn't know anything about how you create your body. So what I'm trying to say is, when this virus thing came out, I hadn't been to the doctor ever for like bronchitis, everything, no antibiotics. I've been healing everything, as I say, for more than 20 years, maybe even before I met Martin. And always healed every single time. Every single time I managed to heal myself, apart from the menopause, which I still struggle a bit. So when this thing came out, it was like, oh, okay, then I'll do it. I'll do what somebody tells me. I'll take, if they say you've got to take colloidal silver, which I know I've healed infections, I've healed gum infections, teeth, things that dentists give you, like these things, massive tablets. And I thought, okay, well, I'll do whatever they tell me. I'll take huge amounts of vitamin C. I'll take colloidal silver, black seed oil. I'll get happy. Excuse me. I'll get happy. I'll do what I love. And that's it. And then Martin, my husband, started doing the same. And we became more or less vegan. We're not purely vegan. And that's it. And there was never an ounce, an atom of fear of getting sick from this thing. My intuition, my consciousness said, but you know what this is, Lauren. You've seen what happened to the bushfires in Australia. Suddenly they ended. What happened before that? We were in America twice, okay? The first time we were in America, there was a false flag where Korea was going to nuke everyone, but it was everywhere, mainstream, everywhere. You couldn't get away from it. You're going to be nuked by Korea. Trump is going to do this and whatever. Then the second time we went to America, it was all about Putin. And Putin was going to pour down clouds of biochemicals on top of everyone. And we were visitors, and it was bombarded. You were bombarded by it. You sit down for breakfast. It was all about Putin. And then after that, you had another terrorist attack, or suddenly that ended. And then you suddenly got this climate change, we're all going to die. And then you got the bushfires in Australia, and it was huge. You see, this is how my consciousness has developed. It was huge. It was huge. And they were putting all these appeals everywhere, and then suddenly it's finished. And now we've got COVID. And it's like, yeah, okay, what the hell? What is going on? So what is going on, Paul? What is going on?
That's the whole point. If you step out the box and actually just say, like you say, you look all the way back to 2000s. So since the 2000s, there has been incident after incident after incident after incident. There's always been this fear, and then there's this new fear and this other fear, and it's what's the overlying? What's the average thing? Fear. Why would media, why would government, they really push one thing, and then it's almost like a fashion, oh, this is the new craze, and then, oh, now this is the new craze.